Women also destroy society. It's not just men. And I've got 12 reasons why. Looking all the way down here. So, this idea of women's autonomy, right? But they destroy themselves. And it's because they're giving away their body as if it's this counteraction to the patriarchy. But all it does is it neglects the interests of their future husband. So they should think of an ideal husband and then live for that person, just like men should live for their wife. And what I'm sharing is, I call it anti-feminist and pro-feminine, because it's all about celebrating and protecting the feminine. Now, if you look over here, for example, at number 2, you see that this idea that men, we have to be honest that, we can feel the energy when you're near a woman flowing from your body or your head, and if you're in proximity to her. So basically, it's not women's intention to like put themselves near men or like be in proximity to them, but they end up exposing themselves to dangerous men and then getting involved and trapped into these different energies, and then no other man can really help them, like, because they're denying the protection of their father, and they're like, look at point number 8. Like, I would not want a girlfriend. This is a major shift that men need to realize, and for women, that to not want a boyfriend, because all of these words, okay, these red flag words, look at number 11 here. Connection, love, you like somebody, a partner, a girlfriend, boyfriend, all of it is deceptive, because it all suggests premarital intimacy, and it all suggests point number 3, that a good man does not take a woman's body without giving his life commitment. And I know you're thinking, well, it seems like you're objectifying a woman. But you know what? Whether it's a man's money and his energy and like his soul, or whether it's a woman's body and her purity, and also a woman's ability to have, soul energy and create things and make money, and a man's purity. This is the world we live in. We are in the material, okay? And then dropping down to this one here, this is, something I learned the hard way. It's called the escort paradox, and what it implies is that when men and women are exchanging, they're interacting, they exchange body for money, for example, or in a lot of instances, it's like body for body. What that results in is two people not caring about each other, but they're caring more about the transaction, and they're not thinking of it in terms of what their values are. And so, like, what else here? I've got a lot more. So, the bottom line is, people say I'm like against intimacy, or there's like an incel vibe to what I'm saying, but it's what I'm about is, I'm about celebrating it and making it sacred and giving space to each other. Like, guys, you got to realize something. Like, there's a reason why Orthodox religions had all these protocols for a healthy space between men and women, and that's something that was lost. And then all these other more abstract traditions, like don't eat certain things, but there's also validity to those. But like all these random traditions, like all these rituals that religions have, they're abstract. They don't really influence us. What does influence us is stuff like giving space to the opposite gender, or wearing respectful clothing. Like, these are very functional things, that actually celebrate the fact that we are attracted to each other. And it's a real magnetism, guys, that happens. And the best way to think of it is that women are like the like black hole energy, and then men are like the sunlight energy. And women can take all that extra energy, and it's not a bad thing. It's who we are, and we got to celebrate it. And what happens is if you give that energy to your wife, who's also loving and committed to you, then guess what? You guys create life, and you create children, and you create a synergy where the man feels purpose, like, oh, I'm giving to somebody and I'm protecting and providing for her because I care about her. It's not just because have a physical attraction, which all this premarital intimacy suggests, that people only like each other for their body, not because they want to commit to each other with the same values. So let's try to zoom in where else here. Things like when men are like touching or talking to women, like we all know why they're doing it. It's not friendly. And I think that especially when a woman's in her true feminine, it's best to think of her, and this is something that Pearl Davis suggested, the YouTube personality. She said that it's a lot like an advanced animal or a teenager. That's how women are, and that's like the feminine. It's the playful, and that's how women should be allowed to be. They shouldn't have to be forced into the masculine, and men shouldn't have to be forced into their feminine. And so what's happened is women have, through feminism, they've like wanted to cancel out their femininity and act like men, and that was compounded by the fact that they're stifling their hormones with birth control, and it makes them want more feminine men. And it's men who don't want to commit, men who just want to be playful, quote unquote, and not create a base for the feminine. And then that whole thing, it derails into only a bad man would want a woman without committing to her. You know what I mean? And without like talking to her, if he wants to discuss marriage, then talking to her guardians or her allies or her friends about it before, like not trying to like seduce her and disrespect her father and everything. And I think that summarizes what I'm trying to express. And guys, let me say that I've been having different communications and debates with people on the internet, but there's one thing in common from guys who seduce women and they don't care about marriage to women who think that I'm being like an incel or I'm trying to control women. The reality is none of these people are willing to debate me. I've probably approached about 20 people, and I've even offered them money to engage in debates. And I think at a fundamental level, they know that what they're doing is shameful and unloving and unsustainable. But that's the biggest tell. It's like, if you don't want to debate something, like the problem, guys, is even if you talk about all this type of stuff in private, like everything I'm sharing and everything on yaywife.com and on shieldheart.org, my other websites, it's not that productive to talk about this on a one-on-one basis, except for an initial like send a link, see what they think. But to debate with them in private, it's only one person. But on a bigger stage, you can reach many people. So what do you think, guys? Post a comment. what's your favorite one? What's one you disagree with? Also, another one I wanted to mention is what happens is, as I said, women, they kind of they there's an interplay where women have they have this need for the soul energy of a man. And so one thing they do is they make their sons like a husband, so that the son is very emotionally dependent on them, and she's like an authority, but the son is like her, her husband. And the irony is is that what women do is they actually destroy each other they teach their sons to seduce women, and for premarital intimacy, and they perpetuate the cycle, and they also have this like conscious or unconscious resentment of other women, like they're envious, so they say, oh, go girl, go, be overweight, be promiscuous, because they know that it's making the other woman less attractive, or hey, so to other men, because ultimately women and men know, that what's good, and men not spending their money and energy and their soul on women that's not their wife, and women not giving their body to men that's not their husband. And if we work on this and we don't, like, men engage in war, they obviously destroy society, but then women use all these subtle tactics, these indirect kind of tactics, and I think they're unconscious of it. I don't think most women want to tear down society, but the problem is women act like conduits for men's energy. So for example, if a manipulative bad boy, quote unquote, guy seduces a woman, then she'll take it out on another man and like mess with him, and the cycle continues. So we're breaking the cycle, guys, and we're gonna find reasons to want to come together as a people, and care about each other, but not just like forcing ourselves to care, but really care because we know we can trust each other if we actually can, because we are not seducing one another. Thank you, guys. Aloha.